Hey everyone, Consecutive here, and welcome back to episode 2 of my Road to AOTC challenge, the show where I take a freshly leveled character and without any outside help, I attempt to get my AOTC achievement by only raiding with pugs. Today we will be going over the Reliquary of Opulence Wing for LFR, which is the Sun King Salvation, Artificer Zymox fight, and the Council of Blood. I actually enjoyed all three of these fights, and I'm looking forward to them for my normal run through. As stated in my previous episodes, I will be doing only voiceover this time around, as I did scuff the audio in my recordings, but that was bound to happen as I am new to this, so I'll actually be commentating as I play the game in the future normal and heroic raid episodes. With that being said, let's hop right into it. So here we have Sun King Salvation. You can see me pulling up my adventure guide and just doing some brief reading. I think in this particular run, yeah, this is with the Paladin. So this was a different LFR group, and I think he didn't know what he was doing about as much as myself. So I actually ended up just pulling because we were staying there for quite a while. Um, but yeah, I see these ads come in on the side, and since I have already established aggro on these three here, I was kind of expecting the off tank to go pick those guys up. So I didn't bother trying to go over there. I also wasn't noticing a ton of damage coming out on the raid from those casts, but it's LFR, so we weren't being punished as hard as you probably would have been on normal or heroic. So in regards to those ads at the start of the fight, you can see me finally move over and start trying to pick them up because I just got tired of seeing them free casting on the raid. I'll probably be told to pick those up in a normal and heroic, I would imagine. Um, but yeah, just kicking the casts whenever I can and cleaving them down. I believe this fight we are supposed to be healing Kael'thas somehow. I didn't really know what that was all about. I know you're supposed to pick stuff up off the ground. I think the ads drop something to heal them, or the canisters, those pedestals you can see underneath Kael'thas on the floor there. It looks like there's 4 of them. I wasn't bothering trying to interact with them. I was just trying to hold ads and just essentially tank anything that came in. It seemed to be an ad heavy fight, so I was just gonna let the healers worry about, healing Kael'thas, and maybe in the future there's a reason why the tank would need to try and heal things. A lot of small ads coming in. I noticed their health pools are going down fairly quick, so again, just kicking where I can, trying to control the aggro as best I can. I'm not running Sigil of Chains, so I kind of regretted that in this fight a little bit. Would have been nice to have maybe a Mass Grip come in from a Death Knight, but we don't have that. So I didn't have Sigil either to help with it. The cleave here that comes in from the Shade of Kael'thas does apply a stacking debuff, as you can see on the top right of my screen. I didn't know how often we were supposed to be taunting off that, but it seemed to be doing negligible damage in LFR. So again, this seems to be one of those fights that it's probably going to scale really hard, and it just seemed easy in LFR, but maybe in normal and heroic it will get progressively harder and progressively more punishing. So this fight, all in all, it didn't look like a tank and spank fight. It looked like there was a lot of mechanics happening, but it felt like a tank and spank fight. I just didn't feel like I was taking much damage. Healers, I mean, I'm not sure how much. You can look down here at the recount meters. Maybe that's a ton of healing coming out. Might be overgeared on the healer's part. Really unsure. But as someone who felt like there was a lot that was going on, I felt like I wasn't being punished very severely for it at all. So all in all, this fight was pretty easy, and definitely want to see it at a higher difficulty because it wasn't anything that I felt I'd really have to go over too much here. I don't even think I'll commentate to the rest of this fight because there was nothing else. I was just controlling ads, and I think the healers were healing Kael'thas, and DPS were maybe picking up those containers to heal him as well. And I was just trying to grab things as they came in. I guess these guys here that come in, what is the occultists? Is that what they were called? Yep, the occultists. I finally targeted one. Um, they teleport across the room, I noticed. So I put it out an AoE kick here right as he Dora shadows away, and then he just runs back. So that was pretty clutch. Accidental clutch moment, I guess. So just trying to keep them kicked, and I noticed they just jump around a lot. So probably at higher difficulties, they are a little bit difficult to keep aggro because they're just going to be jumping around all over the place and making, the off tank's life just miserable. So that was something I got to keep in mind. But other than that, Shady Kael'thas is back in, low health. I think when the Shade dies, Kael'thas is fully healed. Not 100% sure on that. Um, but this fight just seemed like I could almost turn my brain off. I think at one point I had 5 or 6 stacks of this debuff, and I just didn't even care. The damage wasn't there. You can see DBM yelling at me to taunt now, and it's just the fight seemed fairly undertuned for LFR, but again, it's LFR, so you know. But anyways, yeah, that was Sun King Salvation. Think I think that one's gonna bait me into being super difficult at the higher levels, so looking forward to that. Next up, we have Artificer Zymox, and this fight was pretty fun, I guess. Felt very straightforward again, similar to Sun King Salvation. I think there was a couple moments in here where I could have played a little bit smarter, actually. I don't even know if better is the right word. I just kind of turned my brain off here at the beginning. I was tanking this guy, and I noticed these dimensional rifts get put down on either side of the room. And from reading the adventure guide, I know that you can step in them and you'll port to the other side. And then you saw the AOE beams go across the room there, which you just step out of the way of those. In regards to this right here, so the tank got afflicted with this AOE typhoon looking thing that's on top of him, as you can see. And I didn't realize this at the time, and I should have taunted the boss off and dragged him away because obviously the other tank's trying to run away. And I didn't think about that till right at the very end. Then I realized, oh, he probably wants me to pull the boss off him. I'm an idiot. So I ended up taunting him too late, and we all take a bunch of damage. So that was kind of what happened there. That was just my brain wasn't working. And that's the whole point of this series, just to show you that if your brain's working, you should be fine. But fortunately, in LFR, you don't get punished too hard. Sidestepping these beams again, and I didn't really notice this the first time through, but I went back and read the adventure guide and realized there was a mechanic in the first phase here that I completely missed, where these spirits come out. This right here, this green stuff, my brain just totally ignored them. But apparently these will possess the player if they hit them. They'll chase the player for like 11 seconds and possess them, and then you have to damage that player to break the possession. So the portal is a good way to kite those out, I guess. It doesn't look like they can be CC'd. It's not looking like they're being rooted or anything, but you can see the hunter there, just to the top left, right underneath my health bar. The only reason I can see his health bar is because he is now considered an enemy, and I noticed this hunter got hit. I think even earlier too. Twice this hunter got hit. Maybe it's his first time in there as well. He didn't know what was going on, same as me. But I noticed his health bar, and I thought, that's weird. Why can I see the hunter's health bar? Why is he an enemy? Huh. And then I just kind of ignored it. But apparently that mechanic that was happening was possessing him. So he just had to take some damage, and then he was good to go. I see the AoE coming out again, so just make sure you're controlling the boss away from him. And raid-wide damage does occur no matter how far away you are, I guess. So maybe I should be dragging the boss away to help create more distance when that happens. And don't just, take the circle out of melee, but take the circle as far away from melee and ranged as possible. Probably need to utilize those portals better in normal and heroic as I move forward with these fights. More of the same comes through here, I believe. Okay, here comes a planting seed, which I don't recall if I even noticed this phase happening, but these seeds should be moved away from the raid. Yeah, and then they do that, so real good management in retrospect by the DPS to stack those together, because looks like it'll cover the entire room if they're not placed fairly close together. I do remember that big blue coming out, so, I just figured don't stand in it, but I didn't realize DPS were doing their job and, hauling them away for us. So good on them, because I would not have even noticed the seeds when they spawned. So pretty poor awareness by myself. And let's see if we can skip ahead to the last phase where we get there it is. The annihilation comes out. So this was normally you think, oh, I'll just walk away from this because it's trying to. Anytime the boss wants to put you to one part of the room, usually you should not let him do that. It's usually a bad thing. And this pole is actually stronger than your normal walk, which I figured out right there, almost too late, and I leapt out just in time. So if you waste any time trying to walk away from that, it'll suck you in for sure. Um, but that's the phase 3 mechanic, and that seemed pretty simple. At least for a demon hunter, you just leap out of it, not a big deal. Um, Fairly straightforward on the mechanics. A lot of mechanics, but they are straightforward. So definitely can play this fight a little bit better myself in the future, and we go ahead and down this guy fairly quickly, and we'll go ahead and move on to Council of Blood. Council of Blood was pretty funny for me. We we get into this room, we clear the trash, and I'm looking around for the boss. Like, oh, this is kind of a cool looking room because everyone's just hanging out, no one's going anywhere. So I figure, okay, the boss is here somewhere. Can't find the boss. Look up, and it's like, oh, there's people dancing above me. That's neat. I see this chat come out that says NSF. Someone says yes. Someone else says NSF. Don't know what that means still. Had no idea what was going on. Count the poll timer starts, and I'm sitting there like, I don't know where the boss is. And once the poll timer hits, I hope the main guy, the other tank's gonna, pull the boss because I got no clue where he is. And then I notice the LVI on the top left that the tank is targeting one of the bosses. Since it's council, I knew there was 3. And it's like, okay, I hope you know where they are. So I was literally, during this pulled countdown timer, looking for the boss, had no idea where he was. Just waiting for the other tank to pull him. And then I step up over here and the bars show up finally. It's like, oh, okay. At the start of this fight, I didn't really know what I was supposed to do. So I just, kicked that thing, kept this boss over here. I figured if they wanted to stack and cleave, he would bring them to me. Otherwise, I just tank this Baroness off to the side. I go over and try and pick up the ad, but it goes down fairly quick. So here, I'm checking out the debuff that's coming out on me. I'm unsure what to do. I feel like I'm doing the wrong thing, so I kick that. Can never be wrong to kick something, I figure. And if they wanted me to stack and leave down Baroness Frida with those other 2, someone would yell at me to bring them over there, or the other tank would bring them to me. So this is probably the wrong strategy, to be honest. But I noticed this other boss is just kind of having his way with our raid as well, so I run over there and taunt him. And then the Macabre starts. Not sure how to pronounce that. But I see this glowing thing in the center. I don't really want to step in it. I was a little bit worried. Turns out I probably should have. Don't know what's happening, but I notice. So normally you don't stand in bad. You see something on the ground, you're not supposed to stand in it. And that's usually my philosophy for most of these fights. I am noticing, though, that everybody in the room is dancing and clapping their hands and all moving in a specific order. So it's like, okay, maybe this is a rare situation where I do stand in bad. And oh, look, this guy on the bottom left said Cotillion taunt NK. So I guess I was supposed to taunt that guy. I did end up taunting him, but I was slow on it, apparently. Okay, so, anyways, I realize, okay, maybe these are placement markers where my character needs to be standing at the end of, every few seconds. So I do figure that out eventually. So I stand on that, and then I'm like, okay, so maybe I need to go stand over here. So I stand on that, and I see the little, confetti or whatever pop up around my character. So I figure that's the right thing to do. I don't know if it's punishing to not do that. I see this debuff on the top right now. I had to do some reading on this fight, not super familiar with it, but it would seem these bosses phase. And oh, interesting. I'm tanking both Nicholas and Frida, and he just dropped aggro. Oh no, that's an ad. So maybe I'm supposed to. The off tank's supposed to control Nicholas and Frida, and he takes on Lord Stavros. Um, huh. Yeah, so anyways, uh, these bosses will phase, you'll do a dance, and then they'll phase, and you do a dance. It would seem to be the case. And I think each boss has their own mechanic. I think Countess Frida is the one that does the dance. So I think you'll always have the dance throughout the entire fight because she's the last one we kill, unless there's some different strat or reason why we would try and kill her first. Uh, but yeah, so outside of that, didn't really notice anything different going on here. I know, so I got 3 stacks of this duelist's repose on me. Other tank wasn't coming to taunt it off, so I wasn't too worried. I seem to be okay health bar wise. I taunt the ad. Looks like we burn ads as fast as we can. And then I go back onto Baroness once I get that aggro established. And then I don't think too much happens here until the next phase. I'm trying to remember. It was a few days ago when I did this fight. I do notice we have a number of people that have died, so I'm not sure we have the damage to finish this fight, but tanks seem to be doing just fine. Um, Eruption comes out. Don't know what this is, but I figure, don't drop it on people. And I noticed these dancers coming around the room. Figure you don't want to get hit by them. Don't know what it would do to you, but using the old don't stand in bad technique, it's only failed me once so far this fight. Uh, as long as they don't notice, right? As long as the raid doesn't notice that you don't know what you're doing and you down the boss, it's totally fine. Jeez. So, Lunge comes out. Looks to be a DPS mechanic since I'm not tanking him, so didn't care about that. And did I learn my lesson? The next dance, Macabre comes out. Do I leap for it? I feel like I leap for it. I do. Yeah, so I decided to stand in it this time, and okay. Yeah, so at this point, I think I figured it out. Way to go. My brain cell has been put to good use. God would be proud of me. He only gave me the one brain cell, but by golly, I'm gonna try and use it. So I think this fight outside of this is fairly straightforward. I don't remember any other major mechanics coming out. We kill the other boss, and then we all just get on Baroness Frida. Um, I will have to do some reading for this one, so I know. So I'm more familiar with the fight, and I know what I'm doing. Uh, yeah. Did she do anything else? Get another dance sequence coming in at 48%. Looks like Lust came out, and we just try and burn her down. Yeah. So the fight's fairly straightforward. I don't know which of the 2 bosses the off tank is supposed to grab. I don't know the kill order of the bosses. I don't know any of that yet, so I'm going to be reading, of course, and my adventure guide, and hopefully I'll be more prepared and have a little bit better commentary for you all on this fight in particular on my normal run through. That will be all for this episode. If you'd like to see or hear anything else in addition to what I'm doing, feel free to leave a comment down below, as this series is for anyone who's looking to get into the raiding scene, so I really don't mind adding in some extra stuff. Thank you all so much for watching, and here's my obligatory thumbs up the video if you liked it, or thumbs it down if you didn't, but please leave me some feedback in the comments on what you'd like to see improved upon in the future, and I'll catch you all next time.